Hello, everybody. This is your clerk and recorder, Paul Lopez. Thanks for tuning in. Today's a really cool day. This is the first time our office is having a virtual town hall on foreclosures. It's going to be a series of town halls that we got planned throughout the first part of the year, all the way up into June. 2020, I'm glad we paid good riddance to. It was a very challenging year, but it was a year where we as a Mile High City have really hunkered down and figured out how to continue to be able to serve the people of the city and county of Denver, even if it is on Zoom, which you see that we have our lovely folks here from all around the city. It's been challenging. COVID has really impacted, every aspect of our lives. The good thing is that there is sunlight on the horizon that we are now in, and vaccinations are rolling out. And, let me just use this opportunity to thank those frontline personnel, you city workers, Denver Health folks, nurses, RNs, everybody, doctors, healthcare administrators and professionals all around this city for really carrying us through this year. Our teachers, all of our essential workers, our grocery workers, the people that have, continued to be able to put food on our table, right? Including our public servants that serve in the city and county of Denver in various departments. So our respects and reverence for you all. Thank you. Having said that, our economy has taken a hit. And we know that the impacts are going to be long lasting. We will recover, and we are recovering slowly, and we will continue to do so. But one of the things that this has created is a shock to our economic system and our shock to our local economy, to the fact where housing is a big issue. And we wanted to really make sure that as we prepare in 2021, when the moratorium on foreclosures is lifted, that we are prepared. My office handles, municipal records, city clerk stuff, all of our financial disclosures, campaign finance and such. Elections, which 2020 was a very huge year for our elections. We ran 3 elections in the last year during the pandemic, went smooth. Everything was accounted for and people's votes counted, and that's what matters at the end. The other is recordings, from marriage licenses to military release papers to wills and things like that. And anything that needs a county record, deeds of trust that are released, things like that, property information that is recorded with our city. We handle that. Those records are with us. We are the stewards of those records. And last but not least, the public trustee. I serve as your public trustee in addition to the clerk and recorder. Denver's the only county in Denver where I get to be the clerk and recorder and the public trustee. And the only difference there is I'm also the only county clerk that doesn't have to deal with license plates, man. So I'm happy about that. However, I a lot of love to our folks in the DMV. I'm the only clerk in the state with those dual duties as your public trustee. I have a chief deputy public trustee, John Davies, who we will be introducing during this town hall. Now, we will have opportunities for questions and answers. So, make sure you put those in the chat, and we will get to those as soon as we can. Let me introduce. So, before we go into introductions, I also want to make sure that we understand what this is about. Like I said, we're offering and we're conducting a series of virtual town halls, and our goals there is to connect with people to informational resources. Like I said, although they were down in 2020, the number of foreclosures on our federally backed loans, our federally backed mortgage loans, we want to be prepared in case we see another sustained economic downturn due to the effects of the pandemic, and we want folks to be prepared. We can explain. So our role in the clerk and recorder's office with the public trustee is to oversee and provide public oversight of the foreclosure process. So we can explain the foreclosure process, provide a listing of outside information and resources, and even provide information on how to cure if somebody's in default. What we cannot do, and we won't do, so that we won't use these as opportunities. We can't provide legal advice. We can't administer debt mitigation or appeals. We will be doing this in Spanish and also Vietnamese. And for folks who want more information in the interim, while you're watching this, you could even, have another screen up and another browser up, and you can log on at, visit us at Clerk and Recorder. .org. Give us a holler. You can even go to Clerk and Recorder at denvergov.org and hit us up there as well too. We're also on Facebook. At Mile High Clerk is our Twitter handle as well too. So we're there to help you out. So let's get started. I will be moderating this town hall, and I will be starting off by introducing the speakers. I also want just to kind of give you a sense of timeline. We want to be able to, go through this, have some Q&A. We want that to happen around 6:30, 6:20, so that folks have some time to do that, okay? First and foremost is one of my favorite people and a guy who I enjoy working with. He is my chief deputy public trustee, and it is Mr. John Davies. Let me pull up my chief deputy public trustee, John Davies' bio, because it's a great bio. And although you may confuse him for his role in the Star Wars saga playing Luke Skywalker, I'm just kidding, he resembles him, so I call him Luke Skywalker. In his 5 years as our chief deputy public trustee for the county of Denver, John has been passionate about creating and administrating a fair and unbiased foreclosure process. He has been instrumental in passing changes to foreclosure laws around the state that are aimed at protecting homeowners' assets and ensuring the integrity of the office of the public trustee. He's also in his professional capacity has served on panels of experts. He is an expert when it comes to foreclosures and the duties of public trustees. He is sat on numerous committees for the Public Trustee Association of Colorado. He also spent 5 additional years working in the office of the public trustee and 5 years working as a buyer in the City and County of Denver's procurement office, where he earned his certified professional public buyer certification. And John, in addition to wielding a green lightsaber that's sometimes blue, also is a musician. So, John, I will kick it over to you.
Unmute. Thank you, Clerk Lopez. Had to unmute it there for a second, sorry. Thank you. My name is John Davies, and I'm the Chief Deputy Public Trustee, as Clerk Lopez just mentioned. I did want to take a quick minute to note that if you're tuning in from a different county that's not Denver, and you do need to contact your public trustee, in every county in Colorado except for Denver, the public trustee is part of the treasurer's office. So if you're in a different county and you need to contact your public trustee, please call your treasurer's office, not the clerk and recorder. If you're in Denver, definitely call the clerk and recorder. The public trustee's office came to be in existence about the same time the state of Colorado formed into a state back in 1876. And the legislators at the time were trying to solve a problem where lenders were lending money to borrowers that were citizens of Colorado that were primarily farmers and miners at the time. But then they were foreclosing on them before they could bring in a crop or bring ore to the assayer's office. And so basically they weren't giving them a chance to pay their mortgage. So the legislators at the time decided that was not tolerable and created a series of laws and the office of the public trustee to administer those laws. And here, about 150 years later, we're still doing that job. We're still here as the public trustee, and we're still administering the laws that have been put into place by our legislators. Now, there are about 3 pieces of the foreclosure process that the homeowners who may be in foreclosure should be aware of. And the first is the cure process. Cassie, if you could switch to the first slide. I'm sorry, the second slide. There you go. The slide right before that. Sorry, Cassie. The cure process allows a homeowner to come back to current, sort of catch up on their mortgage payments, and in doing so, be assured that the foreclosure is going to be closed. So through our office, we provide that service where if you cure, bring your mortgage payments back up to current, we will close your foreclosure. If you pay it directly to your lender, we can't guarantee that that's going to happen. So that's one of the services we offer. The bankruptcy process actually has a federal statute that says that when a homeowner files bankruptcy, all collection attempts need to cease against that homeowner, and that includes the foreclosure process. The foreclosure doesn't actually go away, but we do pause it, which gives the homeowner hopefully time to figure out how to go forward from there. And then the last piece I wanted to talk about is the excess funds process. If the worst happens and your property does sell at a foreclosure auction, please stay in touch with us. We often sell the property for more than the lender is owed. And in those cases, that excess money may be due back to the homeowner. So if that's a situation you find yourself in, please stay in touch with us even after your property sells, and we may be able to get you some money from that sale. So what we do aside of administering the foreclosure process primarily is we're here to make sure that the public understands that process. So we can clarify statutes and we can provide timelines and we can give personalized information to homeowners going through the foreclosure process about where you are in the process and what's going on. What we do have to pay attention to though is that we're a neutral party, which means we can't actually advise you on what to do next. However, we have partnered with some agencies who can give that kind of advice and who are here today, and they'll be speaking about their programs here shortly. Cassie, if you can go to the next slide. So if you are in foreclosure, I'm going to recommend you do 3 things. The first one is to read all the mail we send you. The mail we send out, those are notices that explain to you what is going on with the foreclosure and also what your rights are as the homeowner in foreclosure. The second thing I'm going to recommend is that you give us a call to clarify the information that you just read in those documents, because that is really dense, kind of legal sounding wording, and we'd be happy to give you some clarification on what all of that meant. And then the third thing I'm going to suggest is that you contact Colorado Legal Services and the Office of Financial Empowerment for advice on how to proceed. Our office can't give that advice, but those 2 entities are able to do so and may be able to help you. Cassie, the next slide. So I'd like to give you this information about how to get in touch with us. If you'd like to, you can feel free to call us at 720-865-2633, email us at foreclosures@denvergov.org, or if necessary, visit us at 201 West Colfax Avenue on the 1st floor. We are trying to limit in-person visits due to COVID, but if that's how you need to get a hold of us, we're here 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and we'll see you for sure. So thanks for being here today, and I'm now going to turn it back over to Clerk Lopez to introduce the next agency.
Thank you, John. And I wanted to take this opportunity before I introduce our next presenter and just thank you to our partners. This is an effort between our office, so the Office of the Clerk and Recorder / Public Trustee, and also the Denver Housing Authority and the Office of Financial Empowerment and Protection. So now let's go to our next, so thank you. Now let's go to our next speaker, and that is Ms. Charlotte O'Donnell. Now, Charlotte O'Donnell is a DHA resident and community service program supervisor and a housing and urban development, what we call HUD, certified housing counselor. Charlotte has been in the affordable home ownership industry for 30 years. She works with the community organizations, DHA residents, and the lending and real estate industry to improve education and provide support and advocacy for households that wish to purchase a home or prevent any threat of foreclosure. So Charlotte, so Donald, why don't we go with you and then we'll go to Al.
All right. Well, thank you, Clerk Lopez. I appreciate that. I am speaking on behalf, I work at DHA. We have a HUD-approved housing counseling agency that we've been providing services since 1995. However, I'm actually speaking on behalf of the 7 HUD-approved housing counseling agencies in the city and county of Denver. Cassandra, I'm wondering if you are able to locate, my 3 slides were actually the last part of the PowerPoint, if you're able to pull that up. And I don't see that on there. So I'm going to try and recall what I prepared. And if we can get to those slides, that would be great. So what is a HUD-approved counseling agency and why should you reach out to us? We are, thank you, Cassandra. We are free and we are certified and funded by the city and county of Denver, by HUD, CHAFA, and some other funders. The reason it's important for you to recognize that you are working with a HUD-approved counseling agency is because we are skilled in the area of providing foreclosure prevention counseling. We are not an out-of-state agency. We are not an agency charging you fees. We have to be certified by the Office of Housing Counseling through HUD to provide counseling to you, to help you understand what your options are, to help you realize what the foreclosure process is here in Denver and throughout the state. We're here to assist you with any kind of modification requests. We're here to inform you of any possible options or programs that we can apply to that may cure your arrears or assist you. We may refer you to Colorado Legal Services or OFEP, which we'll be talking about soon. It's important that you recognize who you're working with as you try and go through this process of assessing your options. So I want you to be prepared. If we could go to the next slide, Cassandra, that'd be great. I want you to understand and be prepared that when you reach out to one of the 7 HUD-approved counseling agencies, that you understand we're going to be asking for paperwork and how to prepare for that appointment. I know a lot of you are very stressed, very, very discouraged, depressed perhaps, angry about your circumstance, which is very much appreciated by all of us. However, we want to make sure that your time with us and the service we provide you is thorough and effective and comprehensive. So we want to make sure that when we ask for paperwork, you understand why we're asking for it and that hopefully you're willing to provide it. So some of the things that we need, and I think we have a wrong slide up. There we go. Okay, thank you. We want you, we're going to be sending you intake documents, and the intake documents are generally, who you are, who your mortgage company is, what your address is. Documents also are going to be asking for your demographics, your income. We'll be asking how many people are in the household. We might be asking about your employment. There's a privacy document. There's about 3 or 4 documents that are part of our intake packet we're going to ask you to complete. So be tolerant of this, because the better informed we are of you and your circumstance, the better we can counsel you and hopefully come up with an action plan that will fend off any threat of further delinquency or foreclosure. We want that information sent back to us paired with any recent mortgage information or foreclosure notices like John just talked about. We want some information about your income, your budget. We may even be choosing to pull a credit report when speaking with you. So together we can talk about what is showing up on your credit. What do we need to address? always plan for about up to 2 hours. It could be an hour, and we may need to schedule a second appointment. We may need to work with you for the next 2 months or 3 months. That's all a part of the routine of working with a HUD-approved counseling agency. And of course, as mentioned early on, we are not doing anything in person. Out of the 7 agencies, you may find a particular agency that may offer one-on-one with appropriate COVID-19 conditions prepared for your visit with them in person. But we do all offer phone and Zoom or what's the other platforms? My Team or one of those platforms. We all offer that opportunity to do the appointments in that manner so you can be comfortable and feel safe. Next slide, please. So the next slide has the listing of our 7 HUD-approved counseling agencies. And it's slide 7. And we have that contact information. I was hoping to get up on the screen, so if anybody wants to write down that number or the email and the name of the agency, you can certainly do that. Cassandra, would you be able to change the slide?
Sorry.
Thank you. So the 7 agencies are DHA, Northeast Denver Housing Center, Brothers Redevelopment, Colorado Housing Assistance Corporation, which is also known as CHAC. There's NewSed and SWIC and Del Norte. I'm hoping I remembered everybody. There is 2 of them I know are bilingual, and that is NewSed and Del Norte. I'm not certain about the other agencies, but I know for certain those who are bilingual, providing Spanish-speaking services. All of our counseling services are free. So as you're calling around, and OFEP knows to refer people with mortgage concerns over to one of the 7 HUD-approved counseling agencies. We partner with OFEP, so as we resolve the issues around your mortgage concerns, we can forward them over to OFEP for further financial coaching and assistance. I will let you know also, in the state of Colorado, it's not just mortgages that you may be getting behind, but it's also concerns about your HOA and property taxes. Any of those 3 entities can threaten foreclosure on you. So if you need counseling around your mortgage, around your HOA or property taxes, you should speak with a HUD-approved housing counseling agency. No, we're free and we're certified by HUD. I don't want to hold you up any further. Perhaps somehow we can get that listing of the 7 agencies and their contact information out to the attendees at some point.
Absolutely. And for any other, for more additional information, please don't hesitate to hit us up at denverclerkandrecorder.org. It's super helpful and easy to navigate. Those of you who are unfamiliar with the Denver Gov website, you could also reach us as well there too. If you go to Denver Gov, and you'll see that you'll have the Clerk and Recorder under government and elected officials, and you click on that page, and it'll also take you to that as well too. So thank you so much, Charlotte, and your information is invaluable, and the Denver Housing Authority has been doing a lot of great work throughout its existence, and also even my tenure previously to this role as a city councilman. So it's very good to see that the work and the dedication of the employees, and even the resident councils who offer so much insight and input into the process. So next up is Alvin Tafoya. Now, Alvin Tafoya is a deputy director with the Office of Financial Empowerment and Protection. I think there's an echo, so somebody might want to turn down their speakers. Okay, I think there we go. Thank you. So the Office of Financial Empowerment and Protection, we refer to as OFEP, right? He has an extensive background in leadership and programmatic service delivery models. He's got 20 years of experience in human services. He's been with us in the city of Denver since February of 2019. He came out of Jefferson County Human Services, where he directed some child support services, something called the Responsible Fatherhood Program. Amen, brother, to that. Parent Employment Project. He worked with TANF, child care assistance. So the dude really cares about human beings and their welfare. So you're really going to see that. Recently, I think Al was appointed by Governor Polis to serve on the state's Colorado Secure Savings Commission. He's passionate, he's dedicated, innovative leader. He cares a lot about families, as you can see from his background. Cares a lot about businesses, especially those small minority-owned businesses, right? And he's a family man and a good dude overall. So, Al, I am going to kick this over to you, Mr. Alvin Tafoya. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Lopez. If I can just real quick, I want to say thank you to the Clerk and Recorder's office and Paul and his whole team, as well as DHA, for coming to the table with us to develop a process that'll help Denver residents navigate foreclosure. It's a very complicated process, but working with DHA is certainly going to help all of you to help mitigate some of those challenges. When we approached this, we wanted to make sure that we created a process where there is no wrong door, meaning if you start with our office, we're going to ensure that we get you over to DHA immediately. If DHA starts the process with you guys, them or one of the 7 agencies will get in touch with us as well. We want to approach it from a co-case management because we know that if you're dealing with foreclosure, you're probably dealing with some other financial scarcities in your household. Potentially falling behind on utilities, falling behind on other bills in the household, food, medical, things of that nature. But I just want to say thank you guys for working with us to put this together. We have a document that was published in 13 languages that we will be posting in the near future so that we can help all of our residents, whatever language you speak. I'll go ahead and jump right in here, what we do and who we are and what we do. We're the Office of Financial Empowerment and Protection. We provide free, unlimited one-on-one financial coaching, and not just if you're dealing with foreclosure, but just in general, if you're ready to sit down and talk to a certified financial coach, that's what we do. We don't put any limitations on how many visits you want to have with us. Some folks come back year after year for a checkup. We go to the doctor every year for a checkup. Our finances really do guide our livelihoods. And so we should sit down with the financial professional at least once a year and have that conversation. So that's one thing we do. The other, free consumer financial protection. And so we provide that service as well through our office. It's all through the same phone number. But we'll, when our navigator answers that phone, we'll ask you some questions to make sure that we got you covered on all these aspects. So we also provide navigation and advocacy. Now there's plenty of navigators in the city, but one thing that we do slightly different is we provide advocacy for our customers. So if you apply for a service from one of our partners and they promise to get back to you in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and they haven't done so, and you've made an effort to reach out to them, we'll reach out on your behalf and help support you through the process to make sure that you're receiving the service that you need to help you and your family move forward. And specifically for this particular instance, for foreclosure purposes, we have free access to safe and affordable banking products through Bank on Denver, which is a standalone 501c3 organization in which we partner with because, they provide services that most agencies don't. And when we say safe and affordable banking products, we're talking savings account, checkings account, loans, things of that nature to help our customers move forward with their pursuit of happiness. And so next slide, please. So if you're in foreclosure, this is what we're going to do. This is the process we developed. Like I said, we have a 2-pager which outlines it verbally as well as a timeline, and we'll be sharing that with you. If you have not already contacted a HUD-approved housing counseling agency, when you contact us, we will immediately make a same-day referral to one of the 7 agencies. And that way we can get you connected with that aspect, because we know that these issues are legal issues and there's timelines and that need to be adhered to. And we want to make sure that we get you in the process as quickly as possible and to the experts at DHA and the other 7 HUD-approved housing counseling agencies. We will then schedule an appointment for a free one-on-one financial coaching session to assist you in improving your credit, or maybe even it's just reviewing your credit because you may not know what it is, your credit score, reducing debts, increasing your savings, establish a budget, and referral for free tax prep. So one of the things about foreclosure is we want to help you keep your home, but we definitely also want to put you on a path to ensure that you get to keep your home long after this COVID-19 is done and over with and we're all moving on with our lives. And so we will also assess your financial situation and make appropriate referrals for foreclosure avoidance funding. So if there are some other fundings that are either through the state, through the county, through the feds, COVID relief funds, whatever it is, we are the agency that has our ear to the wall, making sure that we know any and all funding that's coming down from the feds, any funding that's available through the mayor's office, any funding that's through the governor's office, because we want to make sure that we can help you find the funding so that you can keep your property. We provide legal assistance, utility assistance, food assistance, childcare assistance, medical assistance. We help you get to all these services and apply and receive these services through our advocacy. So keep that in mind. We'll also assess your banking products and educate you on available, safe, and affordable banking products, as I talked about earlier. Next slide, please. In order to get a hold of us, if you want to call our main number, it's 720-944-2498. And our email, if you want to email us direct, is fec@denvergov.org. Or you can visit us at the hyperlink to our main webpage that's been provided here. Again, I want to thank our partners for coming to the table and helping to develop a process to streamline as much as possible foreclosure and to ensure that you are able to stay, live, work, and play in Denver. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tafoya. Thank you, Alvin. And thank you again, Ms. O'Donnell, Charlotte, and thank you again, John Davies, for your presentations. Now, I am going to ask that those of you who are participating in our town hall, our virtual town hall, that you write your questions on the chat. This is going to be one in a series of presentations that we're going to have. So it's not just one virtual town hall and ya está, and we're done. We're going to have a series of these, and we're going to have one in Spanish and one in Vietnamese also. So know that that's going to be the case. So make sure you write your questions in the chat. And what we will do, one of the things that I saw that was a request was that we provide, some of the contact information for the 7 agencies and things like that for you to do. We will do that. And we will also have links hopefully have a link on our website so that maybe we can have follow-ups with this as well too. So, and there you go. It's on the screen. It's good to see some of these agencies. I've worked with them throughout my time as a city councilman, and also even before then. I worked as an intern in Newshead, so I'm very familiar with some of the programs that they do. I am going to pause a little bit. Celia, who is our engagement manager, we in the Clerk and Recorder's office, one of the things that we did is, because we value participation and engaging in community, and although we can't be there in meetings in person, we are doing our best to make sure that we are engaging through all corners of our city, and Celia is charged with that in my office as the civic engagement lead. So do we have any questions so far? Oh, so one of the questions from Renee Stone. Hello, Renee. Are there options for community members who are undocumented or may have concerns about their citizenship status? I know many are concerned to reach out out of fear of being carga pública. Now, I want to be absolutely clear. In the city and county of Denver, we don't care where you're from. We don't care what your nationality is, your creed, your sexual preference, your religion, or what your immigration status is. This is none of our business. So feel free to hit us up. Don't worry about that. You can give us a call and we will guide you. So as long as you are a living, breathing human being, you can give us a call and we will help guide you to the appropriate resources. I mean, when it comes to foreclosures, housing, things like that, we will make sure that you are connected. So don't be afraid to give us a call. Y también hablemos español. Así que ustedes pueden llamarnos en nuestra oficina denverclerkandrecorder.org. También estamos en Twitter, @milehighclerk. Encuéntranos, visítanos y danos un mensajito para que nosotros podamos ayudarles. Also, folks who are looking for housing counseling. I know that NewSet is a bilingual organization. It has that capacity. Del Norte does as well too. And when you engage with Denver Housing Authority, you'll also find that they have bilingual staff as well. So are these services income-based? No. You are a citizen of the city and county. Let me see. People get this mixed up when I say this. If you are a resident of the city and county of Denver, you can give us a call and we will help you out. We are here as public servants, again, like my chief deputy public trustee, John Davies, had mentioned before. That's why we exist, is because we represent the interest of the public in making sure that the foreclosure process is fair and that it is just. And in other states, they are overseen by third parties, private third parties. In Denver, as we explained to you earlier, it's the public. We do this on your behalf. We want to make sure that that's fair. So consider us the referee in the Super Bowl, okay? And you know, with the list of folks and services, the folks who are service providers, they're happy to help. You know, they have so many different programs in which you can engage in as well too. I don't know if anybody else wanted to address that. Alvin, Charlotte, if there's anything that you need to add to that.
No, I think you're correct. When we find a situation that doesn't fit nicely into an eligibility bucket, we'll find a solution. And that's why we work with our nonprofit partners to create solutions when we identify that there's a possibility that, you know, someone might be left behind. But we also have the Immigration and Refugee Left Behind Fund as well as one. And then on the eligibility of other programs, some programs do have eligibility, but for the purposes of foreclosure, we do not. And DHA does not either, to the best of my knowledge.
And I would only, yeah, thank you. I would only say the only issue that might surface is if you come in for services about the mortgage and we learn that your name is not on the mortgage or perhaps not on the property. Maybe it's owned by an ex-spouse or your parents live there and they own the house and you're there getting counseling. We can certainly provide you some general information, but that would probably be our only restriction, is if you are not the person on the mortgage or the deed, then we have a little bit of a challenge there. But other than that, happy to serve everyone.
Okay. Another question from the community. This is a question for DHA. Charlotte, in the same conversation when it regards to folks who are currently undocumented, are there any services that undocumented cannot access at the federal level through DHA? Is that an issue?
Relevant to housing counseling, to prevent a foreclosure, any threat of further delinquency, there are no limitations. Because if they're coming to us, they had to provide some documentation to get the mortgage. So that should not be a factor that would hinder us from providing services.
Okay, and I will repeat that. That is not a factor. Again, it's not none of our business. You're a living, breathing human being.
If they
here.
got a mortgage and they have a deed on their property, we work with them.
There you go. Thank you. Another question, Alvin. This is if do we know if there'll be any financial assistance for mortgages?
Yes, we do. We currently have mortgage assistance through our Bank on Denver partners. We're currently assessing CRF funding with the city and county of Denver and seeing exactly where the funds are and so we're going to be planning for a year-long process. But I wouldn't wait. If you've received a notice from your bank or your finance company regarding your mortgage on late payments, I think John said it correctly. Read everything, but also save those documents, but contact us immediately. One other thing, Paul, if you don't mind, I want to answer just real quick or add is be wary of people that are quick to want to help you. Because when people know that you're facing foreclosure, they want to come in and buy your property for less than its value. They want to come in and, help you, but really help themselves. So fraud is a big issue, and that's what our consumer financial protection arm does. And so, be careful on who you're sharing your social security number with, your banking documents. Let us, the professionals, help you, and don't rely on, I don't want to say don't rely on family, but it's best just to hop into the loop and get in the process so we can support you.
Always give us a call, folks. Always don't hesitate to give us a call. We work on your behalf. Mr. Davies, my Chief Deputy Public Trustee. This is probably a question that, and I want you to, if you can address. This is from another community member. Are foreclosures still on hold in Colorado due to COVID? What is the current expiration date?
Yeah, so there are 4 federal mortgage backers, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, HUD, FHA, and the VA, and all of them have put into place moratoriums on foreclosures. Currently, FHA and the VA both have moratoriums that expire on February 28th. And Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac has a moratorium that expires January 31st. And that's where we stand today.
Okay. Thank you. Another question. Well, actually, let me ask this one of you. This is from another community member. Have the foreclosure protections under the CARES Act expired?
So technically, yes. However, when the protections under the CARES Act expired, all of those 4 agencies I just named provided their own protections because the CARES Act had expired, those protections had expired, and they wanted to continue doing stuff for the people in the United States. So technically, yes, but those protections that were started with the CARES Act are still in place.
There is a question in the chat that I want to address. It's another question is that can you please provide a breakdown of what resources each agency has and the requirements to participate? For example, I know recently that CHOC has funds for mortgage payments grant, I'm so discombobulated. I know recently that CHOC has funds for mortgage payment grants for people who experienced COVID hardships. Would be nice to know what everybody has to offer. So what we can do is we can put that list of providers up on the screen, and that way you can jot that down. So if we want to do that as well, and this is something perhaps that we can put in the chat as well too, maybe as a screenshot or something, or follow up on our Facebook as well, and we could post that on our social media. That is really helpful. Thank you.
Clerk Lopez, if I could just do an update on what you just mentioned about funds from CHAC. CHAC just informed us a couple of weeks ago that unfortunately the TMAP program had come to an end on December 31st. They had wished to extend it, but that was not permissible. So those funds are not there any longer. All the housing counseling agencies have access to any available resources that are out there, like the fund that Alvin is talking about through OFPEP. There's also private funds through a group called MAP that helps not just with the mortgages, but HOA and property taxes. And the details of that, each agency can counsel somebody on. There's no income limits on that or geographical limits on that. But otherwise, any resources that come through, all of the counseling agencies become informed. So our housing counselors, whoever you choose to meet with, whether it's Brothers or DHA or NewSed or whatever, we all should be informed of the same information so that a person can get all of the options available to them. So there's innovative things like a SHIP program, which has to do with, it's very detailed, has to do with land trust options. Again, all of these options, each of the housing counselors should be informed of and share that information with our clients.
Okay. And I appreciate that. And another community member from, Senora Acosta from NewSed had chimed in and said that NewSed also has down payment assistance as well. So, and that's
for purchasing a house, though.
For purchasing a house. There you go. Okay. Quick question, and I will answer this. What other languages are available besides Spanish? Well, some of us have that. We are bilingual in Spanish. So if you have folks come give us a call, we can help you out in bilingual. But our website also has a translation widget on the upper right that translates 11 languages currently. And if you need, if somebody has or needs translation services and comes to our office, you want in a language other than Spanish, we will do our best to help you to make sure that we can, address that, and also make sure that you have access to the services you need in your language. We will try very, very hard. The city does have a translation program, and we will do our best in our office to make sure that that is definitely the case. Another question from Facebook. What relief exists for landlords whose tenants are unable to pay their rents? Who would like to take that one? Alvin, Mr. Tafoya.
Yes, currently the state has a program, the POP program, POP, Property Owner Program, in which they can apply on behalf of the tenant and receive, rent, a grant that they don't have to pay back. And so that's one of the other opportunities we look at when working with the landlord as well as the tenants, who's best positioned to apply for those services. And so the state does have a program. Like I said, we keep our fingers on the pulse so that we know how we can support our residents.
Thank you, Mr. Tafoya. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Can a foreclosure, this is probably for John Davies. Can a foreclosure from a HELOC, so a home equity line of credit, otherwise known as a HELOC, be stopped when a forbearance has been given by the first mortgage?
So the way that the foreclosure process works in Colorado, it's by lien and it's not necessarily by property. So if forbearance has been given to the first mortgage and it has stopped foreclosure on the first mortgage, it doesn't necessarily affect any other liens against the property. But I would definitely talk to the Office of Financial Empowerment, DHA, and find out if they're able to help with the process, since you're already working on forbearance with your lender or with some other programs, if that can be applied to that HELOC as well.
Great information. Thank you so much, John. I'm also, I've been made aware that Del Norte also provides assistance in French. So there you have it. Another, just an input from our friends at the Colorado Legal Services. They wrote, if people need legal help for foreclosure, they can also apply with Colorado Legal Services. Applicants will be screened to determine if they meet income and eligibility guidelines, or if an applicant is 60 or over, then income and asset guidelines do not apply. Colorado Legal Services is a statewide program. For those of you who are not familiar with them, they provide all facets of legal representation, whether providing advice, negotiation, defending foreclosures, filing Chapter 13 bankruptcy. They do a lot of good stuff, and you can apply for that assistance as well. They put a link to their website. It's coloradolegalservices.org. So that it's super important for folks to be able to access those resources. Again, as the public trustee, our duties and our responsibilities is, as we are the umpires, we are the referees, we call the strikes and balls, we call the outs. We make sure that the playing field is level and fair, and that the process is fair, right? We've been doing that for over a century, and we will continue to do that. We cannot give you legal advice, but that's a good link and a good resource for you guys to all have. Mr. Tafoya had, that is another question. The foreclosure process, is it the same for families as it is for businesses?
In Colorado, yes. The foreclosure process, the timelines, the requirements from the public trustee standpoint are not different at all. I can't speak to what lenders have to do, unfortunately. I don't know their process. But for our side of things, it's exactly the same.
All right. Well, we appreciate that. Listen, our time is coming to a close. Remember that this is one of many different virtual town halls that we're going to have about foreclosures, budget, understanding kind of some of those in and outs of those finances. This is a great partnership between OFEP, the Office of Financial Empowerment, and then the Denver Housing Authority. So the three of us have teamed up to create a team. so yeah, and address some of those issues. So before I have my final remarks, can I have some final remarks? I'll open up final remarks from the panelists. And yes, we are able to share some of the information that we have. We can put this up. Remember the next, panelists, any final parting comments? We'll start with Ms. O'Donnell from DHA.
Thank you. And I appreciate the efforts with all of the partners getting together. I just strongly would encourage you to reach out to your family, to your colleagues, anybody in your world that is struggling right now. There are free resources here. You can trust us. And we're here local. Outside of Colorado agencies, support services are not of great value because they don't know our program, and we all work together. So feel encouraged, feel you can trust us, and get people to the right services so they can get the right information.
Thank you, and thank you for your service to the city and the people, Ms. O'Donnell. Mr. Tafoya.
Yeah, I want to echo what Charlotte stated. We are a trusted agency. We are here to serve and protect our citizens, and to ensure that they're able to maintain their most important asset that they'll have in their life, and hopefully that they can pass that wealth transfer on to their children, grandchildren. And ultimately the goal is to live, work, and play, but also stay in the house and in the neighborhood that you chose to raise your family, and ensure that you're able to maintain your equity in your home. So reach out to us. Like I said, no wrong door. If you want to start with the housing agency, that's fine. If you want to start with us, that's fine. But collectively, between the three partners, we are here to help you. And thank you for your time this evening.
And thank you, Mr. Tafoya, for your dedication to people and families. Chief Deputy Public Trustee, John Davies, would you like to say a few words before we wrap up?
Sure. Yeah, I also just wanted to echo what Charlotte and Alvin said. This is a really strong partnership, and we have a lot of information and programs between the three of us that we can share with the public, and we're eager to do so. We want to help the communities here in Colorado and in Denver specifically. And I did want to say also, as Charlotte was saying, reach out to us. We're the people who know the process. Colorado is the only state in the union that has a public trustee system. So your lender may not even know the process if they're outside the state of Colorado. So just make sure you're talking to us. We're a trusted source, as the other panelists have said, and we'd love to hear from you if you need our help.
Thank you, John, and thank you for your hard work and dedication to our people of Denver. And it's miraculous, man. It's dark outside, but yet there you are in the sunlight in front of the city and county building.
I know, it's amazing.
It's freaking amazing, just the difference in time. I mean,
it's the light on the camera, actually. It's lighting up the entire building and the sky. It's amazing out here.
This dark saver, you know, in the closet, just illuminating everything.
oh yeah, that's our Jedi. Listen, thank you all, and thank you for participating. Thank you for attending our town hall. Remember, our next one is going to be on Tuesday, February 9th. We will turn the PowerPoint presentation into a PDF, and then we are going to post it on our website, and also the event info on Facebook as well too. And let me just say this, as your clerk and recorder, your elected official to represent you in these matters. I understand the struggles that folks are going through. I understand the struggles that our organizations like NewSed and Del Norte and a lot of our partner organizations out there that work on, you know, really hard. I know that they're struggling as well too, and they're doing the best they can to serve the people as well. So thank you to you all. You know, I grew up just blocks away from the city and county building. I grew up in poverty. To this day, my parents, we never owned a home, right? I grew up not ever knowing what it was like to just have one home, right? And I moved all around this city. I think 27 times the last time I counted. Anytime I moved as a kid, I was all over the place. I went to 2 middle schools. I went to 5 different elementary schools. I went to 1 high school. I mean, it was hard, right? And we know how hard the impact is. I'm a kid from the 80s, so I grew up during a recession and governed during a recession as a councilman. And I saw this being one of the top issues in 2009 when we had that great recession. Foreclosures were at an all-time high, and you know, zip codes like 80239 out in Montbello and Green Valley Ranch, 80249, 80219, right here in the West Side. There were, I mean, it was amazing just how many foreclosures were out there. So know that we've been through this and we got out of it, and we're going to continue to do that. And we want to be proactive. We want to do our best to make sure that you are informed, and you have all that information at your fingertips so that we can stay ahead of the game. Okay. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. All right. Thank you so much, Denver. Thank you, panelists. Thank you to my team for working really hard to get this moving forward, and for you guys as well, DHA and OFEP. Have a pleasant evening. Bye, Denver.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.